Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Watch the Serpent, or Watch the Serpent Slither. And what I'm talking about is the devil, the Amalekite, Haman the Layman, Vocab Malone, when he went to go see those brothers in Virginia. And when the brothers had closed up the camp, he continued filming, and the brother was asking him about Daniel, the 2nd chapter. He mentioned that, well, no, he actually read Revelation 2, which we're going to get to, Lord's will. And pretty much there was a statement that Vocab made at the end of here in this, at this part right here. This is on Vocab Malone's page. GMS Virginia versus Vocab Malone in Norfolk. And there was a point that he made here that I want to address to show you how this devil operates. He's a serpent. I can't even say he's subtype, but he's a serpent. Because what the serpent does is they'll take like little pieces and bits. The things that they accuse us of cherry picking, that's exactly what they do with the Bible. To try to, push their BS. So pay attention. I'm going to try to get this microphone a little closer. I turned the volume up, so hopefully it's loud enough. Let me know if you can hear. If not, I'll bring it back, and then I'll play it again. So let's take a listen.
The one teachers, the older apostles that taught us well and shalom to the hopeful elect.
Now check this out. Why are you cracking up? No one's got to yell. You just lorded the authority you believe you're going to gain over the nation. You said we're gonna have power, we're gonna break these nations. And what's so fascinating about that is by that braggadocio, you show you're a Gentile. Can I show you how? Yeshua, if you want to call Yahweh in this instance, roll blood slide. Yeshua said to his disciples.
Who's Yeshua?
Hold on, listen. You know who it is? It's Jesus Christ, the one mustard. And you're call Yahweh.
How many names are going to use? Christ.
Okay, so here's what happened.
Yeshua.
Here's what happened.
Jehovah.
Here's what happened. Jesus Christ, and you know who I'm talking about, the man who was the Lion of the tribe of Judah, still is, coming back. He said to his disciples,
people that's financing
brother,
your whole
he
program.
said to his disciples,
I know you wanted some camera footage.
Hey, David, I know you wanted some camera footage.
You're going to be disappointed.
You're going to be disappointed. You couldn't get it tonight.
So tell your finances.
So, he's right here.
Financing the whole thing.
He's right here. So I couldn't get what I wanted tonight, David. So there, I just did it. I just passed on the message for you. I'm serving you already, brother. I'm serving you already. It's prophetic. I just served you. I'm your messenger boy. How about that? All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm working on it better. If you could just maybe a tip next time, you 50 cents, let me stay in the house with you, will be cool. Now check this out.
You came. It was already about to. Well, you came.
No, I know. I actually do know.
If you would have came, we started. We would have.
I couldn't. We started.
Hold on. Why you didn't been back to our elders?
I don't get to go to Harlem out every day, bro. Harlem.
Travel. You got a nice budget.
Yeah, I got a great budget, don't I,
You can miss me with that.
Don't I, John? Yeah, they know about my budget.
They just ain't getting cut. No, I'm just saying, it's common knowledge, simple knowledge. Somebody ain't be able to travel.
Yeah, make sure you get my good side, David. Get my good side, David. Yeah, that's how I treat it. Listen up, for real, listen.
Where y'all parking, man? You ain't gonna park there for all, man. You park in a black Jeep.
Oh yeah, our license plate. They got the
I'm just waiting for the part. I thought that was a part,
I can't
but
teleport. I'm the reincarnation of Satan. That's one of my powers. No.
you heard him. He says he's the reincarnation of Satan, which he is Satan. He just, he ain't no reincarnation. He just is Satan.
So check this out. In all seriousness,
Here we go.
you show you're a Gentile by the way you know your authority. You guys remember when Jesus was talking to the disciples? You know what he said? He said, the Gentiles lord their authority over those under their charge. Let it not be so with you.
You know what we despise?
Hold up, almost done here. And then he said, instead, you want to be the greatest, you be the servant. You want to be first, you're going to be last. Now, let me ask you this. If Jesus says the Gentiles lord their authority over the others, don't be like a Gentile. Why do you guys go around being like, we're going to put you in chains, and we're going to make you pick our cotton? And I have a picture here with all the white Jews bowing down the shaft. Look at that.
So, okay, hold on. Okay, is your God just? Is your God just?
Well, why aren't you?
So you heard him, right? He said pretty much, if you know, why do you say that, you know, if the Lord said you should not lord over over others like the Gentiles, why do you say you're going to be over the other nations? Well, that's what the scriptures say. Now, the scripture that he's quoting, right? Let's go to it. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm just trying to write a couple of precepts down that's coming to mind. The precept that he quoted, which is in Matthew chapter 20. Let's go to it. And verse 20, it says, preferment asked. All right, so this is Matthew 20:20. We're going to start at the 20th verse just to get the whole picture of it. This is when the mother of James and John came to Yahushua asking him to have his son sit on, one on each side of him, so on and so forth. All right, so just keep that in mind. It says, then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him, and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, what wilt thou? She saith unto him, grant that these my two sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on the left, in thy kingdom. But Yahushua answered and said, you know not what you ask. Right, because at the end of the day, those sitting, those that are on the left hand, that's Satan and the wicked angels. The right side are the righteous. It says, are you able, this is what he asked them, are you able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? They said unto him, we are able. And he saith unto them, you shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. And oh, did they drink. All right. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared of my Father. That's right. It says, and when the 10 heard it, meaning the other disciples, they were moved with indignation against the two brethren. Why? Because they're like, man, these guys are trying to exalt themselves. But Yahushua called them unto him and said, you know that the princes of the Gentiles, this is talking about the actual nations, exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. And that is true. But it shall not be so among you. You get it? Because who are they arguing amongst? They're arguing amongst themselves of who is going to sit, who's going to be the greatest, who is going to sit on, on this throne, that throne, or whatever the case may be. So Yahushua is telling them that the other nations, they exercise dominion over each other. But it shall not be so among you. You men here. Among Israel. Because even in Israel, wait a minute. We're going to come back to that because that is a good point to make. Let's go to Matthew 19. So he's speaking about them among themselves. He's not talking about them having slaves of the other nations. He's using a comparison of the nations having dominion over each other, that it should not be done so among them. You see? So, Matthew 19, because even in the kingdom of heaven, the apostles are going to have dominion. And let's see what it says. The disciples' reward. Matthew 19 and 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So they're even going to have authority over other Israelites. So when Yahushua said this, that Gentiles exercise dominion over them, over each other, but it shall not be so among you men here. You're not going to have that mindset of, being, oh, you're under me, so you follow me, this, that, and the other. It says, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. In other words, like the scriptures say, the greater thou art, the more humble thyself. He wasn't speaking about, because vocab is saying, why do you want to have power over the nations or something along those lines? Because the Lord said, that the Gentiles, they exercise lordship over each other, and that shall not be so among you. And he said the key word, among you, who the Lord is speaking about. Because we just read, and then whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Right. In other words, to serve the Lord with honor and humility, and to be amongst brethren like that, even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. All right. So with that being said, now let's go to the book of Revelation chapter 2, because this is the scripture the brother read to him. All right. We're going to start at 25. It says, but that which you have already hold fast till I come, meaning the faith and the works, and the doctrine that we have, till the Lord comes. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end. Right? Just like Yahushua told the disciples, to him, to the you Israelite, you part of the elect, to him will I give power over the nations. When you look up the word power, right, it should be dunamis. Well, this one is not dunamis. It's exousia. Exousia. Power of choice, liberty of doing as one pleases, because we're going to have power over the nations. Leave or permission, physical and mental power. Right, we're going to have the physical and mental power. The ability of strength with which one is endued, which he either possesses or exercises. But wait a minute, didn't Yahushua say, it says that he says that the Gentiles exercise what? Dominion over them, but it shall not be so among you. But here we're reading that power that the Lord is going to give them over the nations would be the ability of strength, that which one is endued, which he either possesses or exercises. Over what? Over the nations, not over each other. The power of authority, influence, and of right, privilege, the power of rule or government, the power of him whose will and commands must be submitted to by others and obeyed. See? So who said they were going to do this? The Lord said it. So it don't matter what you say, vocab, but you see how he tries to spin and twist. He's a spin doctor, and that's exactly what they do. They have the appearance, as the elder from Vegas, Karatazar, said. He brought out scripture, and pretty much, I forget exactly how he said it, but pretty much this is what the devil does. They're just using the scriptures just enough to have the appearance of being righteous men. And he read the scripture in 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, that Satan will make himself to appear like an angel of light. Because really they're not about the truth. They're about pushing their bullshit. And what they're pushing, the doctrine that they're pushing, is the doctrine of Satan. That's another gospel. So they're accursed. All right, so it goes on and on and on. But we get the gist of it. So let's read that again. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Matter of fact, oh man, messed up on that. Let's go back to Matthew. Because I want to just see I want to see what it says for exercise and then lordship. Exercise dominion. Okay, so it's a different word. Katakureyo. To bring under one's power, to subject oneself, to subdue, master, which is pretty much the same thing. To hold in subjection, to be master of, exercise lordship over, which is just pretty much the same thing we read here. That he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and not just power, dominion, and authority over the nations. So it says, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, because we're going to deal hardly with them. So he said, by you wanting to have lordship over others, you're showing that you're Gentiles. That's what he said, right? And merely paraphrasing. But listen to what this says. Even as I received of my Father. So is he calling Yahushua a Gentile? Because Yahushua is given power over the nations, and he's going to break them to shivers also. So is he calling Yahushua a Gentile? That's why it says that we're what? Joint heirs with Yahushua. All right. So let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Let's hit 14. I'm just going to hit 14 until I'm not going to read the first verse. Just going to go straight to the second verse. It says, and the people shall take them. Once Israel is gathered together, all Israel, the Israelites, Israelite foreigners, everybody's on the same page in the kingdom of heaven, cleaned up, renewed, refreshed, laws inserted, stony hearts gone, fleshly hearts in. They're going to come together, and the people shall take them, who? The other nations, and bring them to their place. What is their place? Slavery, captivity. Because how's that term go? Contrary to popular belief, all nations will not come together as one, under one banner, having the same amount of power, because they believed in the Lord. So you're going to have thrones, and different nations, different people from different nations are going to be sitting on the thrones and, ruling jointly with Israel. No. Only the Israelites are going to have that privilege. The other nations for 1,000 years, they're going to be servants. After the 1,000 years, Esau is going to be rounded up, burnt up. Every last one of them. None of them are going to escape. Tubal Cain is not going to slide out the side. And after that, the nations will be given their land. They're going to have their land, but they're going to be given a little bit more freedom, so to speak, to rule amongst themselves. But they're still going to be tributary to us. They're still going to have to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, so on and so forth. All right? And that's the bottom line. And the house of Israel, right, when they come together, they're going to take these nations, and the house of Israel shall what? Possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, or slaves, whose captives they were, because we were captives under them. And when you look at the history of Israel, we have been in captivity under every nation under heaven. And something else that devil said was, well, the Israelites weren't. You said that every time the Israel went off, they went into slavery, and they did. Well, they didn't do that anything when they went into the slavery of Egypt, and that was before Abraham. Yeah, but that was a prophecy. No, actually. That's not what he said. He says no. He said that was just something else he said about that before Abraham. But this dealing with this here in Egypt, the reason why they went into captivity was because it was a prophecy that the Lord told Abraham his seed would go into slavery under the Egyptians. That's why they went into captivity, because it was a prophecy, and the Lord was setting it up for the Israelites to get the land of Canaan after that captivity. All right. And they shall rule over their oppressors. So I don't know what the hell this vocab alone the devil is speaking about. So let's look up the word possess, and let's look up the word rule over. Because when you possess something, it's in your possession. That belongs to you. You have lordship over that. The word is nachal. To get a possession, acquire, inherit, possess. To take possession, inherit. You could do whatever you want with your possession. As the word exousia, which we read, means, to be able to come and go as you please. It says to have or get as a possession or property. Because these nations are going to be property. And the brother put the precept up, which we're going to get in a minute. To divide the land for a possession, to acquire testimonies, to divide for a possession, to possess oneself of, to give as possession, to cause to inherit, give as an inheritance, to be allotted, to be made to possess. Right. So what is that privilege of possession and title? And they shall possess them. Who? The other nations in the land of the Lord for what? Servants, which are men slaves, and handmaids, which are women slaves. And they shall what? Take them captives, put them into slavery, whose captives they were. When you look at the history of Israel, we've been in captivity under every nation under heaven. And they will be tributary. Now let's look up the word, and they shall rule. Let's look up the word, either rule or rule over. Let's see what they have. They shall rule. The word there is radah. Radah. To rule, have dominion. What Yahushua said. That's what the Lord said. Have you lording over other nations? That proves that you're a Gentile. What the fuck are you talking about? Yahushua never said if somebody rules over somebody else, that means that they're a Gentile. He said that that's what they do, but you should not do that amongst yourselves. Learn to read, devil. But he knows exactly what he's doing. He's a serpent. Remember, the serpent speaks with a forked tongue. The white man's words are lies. From that movie, forget the name of the movie with Carlo Montalban. That was way back. I think that was in the 60s. It was a movie that he played a Gadite. And he said, the white man's words are lice. Dominate, tread under. Yeah, because that's what we're going to do. They get out of line, they're going to get knocked in the head. It says to have dominion, rule, subjugate, to cause to dominate, to scrape out, to scrape out. Damn. We're going to rip you out the frame, E, and the other nations. All right, so now let's go from there to Isaiah chapter 60. And let's start at verse 10. And the sons of strangers, which are the nations, the heathens, the other nations. And you see here the word stranger is the word nakar. This is the word that's used for an actual stranger in 99% of the scriptures that speak about strangers dealing with the other nations. Now, every once in a blue moon, the word nakar is used to describe an Israelite. Say about maybe 1 or 2% of the time. But for the most part, when you see the word nakar or bun nakar, which is son of a stranger, that's, as you see here, bun nakar, son of strangers. That's talking about the other nations. So it said what? And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, because they're going to be what? Servants, tributary, slaves, captives. And their kings shall minister unto thee. Right. The word minister means to be a slave. To bow down. Like Vocab did before the Elder Pastor. And he had the nerve to call Elder Pastor a heathen because he's ruling over y'all. Some like that. Some bullshit he said in that same video. Unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee. Right. But in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Right. Because the Lord said he was displeased with the nations. Because he was only a little bit upset with us. I mean, he was mad at us. gave us into captivity, but he said that these nations helped forward the affliction. They went overboard with it, especially Esau. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces or the riches of the Gentiles. In this case, the word Gentiles is talking about the other nations. It depends on context. And that their kings may be brought, because their kings are going to be the first crop of slaves. Kings, rulers, so on and so forth. Now listen good. Well, that's just talking about, that they're going to do stuff for Israel. Israel's going to ask them real nice, hey, can you get that for me? Esau, can you get that for me? Moab? And the scepter is just to point him in the right direction, just to give him a little shove. No. That scepter is going to be to knock these nations in the head when they get out of line. It says, for the nation and kingdom that will not what? Serve thee. Shall what? Perish. Meaning they're going to be put to death. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. So it's not something that you're asking them. I'm asking you as a humble servant of the Lord, please, do this for me. Can you go and pick that cotton for me? Or can you go pick that peas for me? No. Boy, you better get your ass on out there before I whoop your ass. Send you back into the spirit world. So let's see. Serve. Not serve. The word there for serve is what? Ibad. The Hebrew word ibad means serve or servant. Shall what? Perish. And the word abad, ibad with an I, is slave, servant. Abad with an A is destruction. All right, they shall be utterly wasted. And the word there here for utterly is the word charab, which is sword. And then wasted, charab, again. Charab. They're going to be utterly wasted. Right here it says charab, ya charabwa. So you devils going to get fucked up, man. You other nations too. Now reading on, it says, the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. Right. Because right now you go to certain places in the world, especially in the inner cities, and it smells like shit and piss and just disgusting. When the kingdom of heaven is established, the earth is going to be refreshed, it's going to be renewed, it's going to be under a new righteous vibration. It's going to smell good everywhere you walk, every step you take, every move you make. That's his theme song. I don't know if that was when he was with the police or by himself. It's going to smell good. We're going to be able to breathe. We're going to be able to, enjoy. The brother put here, blue letter, rod of iron definition. When applied to kings with a rod of iron, indicates the severest, most rigorous rule. Ooh. Man, that brother slayed it through the spirit with that one. All right. So it says, and it's going to smell good all the time. You ain't going to be walking down the street another day and all of a sudden you're going to get a whiff of some shit. Say, what the fuck is that? Now check this out. This is why the Lord said, when you do your business, when you dump off, you take your little tool with you, you go into the woods, you dig a hole, and you dump off in there, and then you cover that shit back up. Because the Most High said, I'm holy. He ain't trying to smell that shit. So when the kingdom of heaven is established, the presence of the Lord is going to be there. So everything is going to be beautiful. It's going to be smelling like everything. It's going to be smelling like cinnamon and pine, and and you're going to smell like our senses are going to be heightened. So we're going to be able to smell all of those smells and be able to distinguish each and every one of them. Because everything that the Most High created is beautiful. It's in perfect order. It has differences. It has variety. You know, it has everything in it, you know. Every smell is just as good as the next. You know, the pine and the box tree and the fir tree, you know, and you have cedar trees. See, I love the smell of cedar. Cedar wood is one of the best smelling woods out there. You know, when you smell that, when you cut it, whatever the case may be, and that smell that it gives off, just imagine everything around you smelling like all of these fragrances. It says, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come what? Bending unto thee, just like Vocab did before Elder Apostle Tara when he gave him that book. Bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down to the soles of thy feet. Well, you know, if you do that, that means you're a Gentile. So I guess, as we read, Yahushua said he's going to receive the same thing from the Father. He's going to give those that, you know, endure to the end power over the nations, and they shall rule them with a rod of iron and break them to shivers, as I receive my Father. So I guess Yahushua is a Gentile too, right? According to Vocab's breakdown, it says, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel, because only Israel is going to be saved, man. All right, let's look up a couple of these words: bending and bow. Bending, the word there is shakak. A bow, crouch, bow down, be bowed down, be prostrated, be humbled. Bow, to bow in homage. But this bow is going to be all the way down to the soles of our feet. To bow of mourner, that's another way. To crouch of wild beasts in lair. To be prostrated, be humbled, be reduced, be weakened. And that's what they're going to be reduced and be weakened because they're proud. Proceed humbly, be bowed down. And they're going to be walking very gingerly and very tenderly in the kingdom of heaven for that first 1,000 years. Boom, boom, boom. That's pretty much it. And let's see what the other one says. That was bow themselves down. No, that was bending. Shakach. Bowing themselves down, same thing. No, it's really actually shakha. Shakha. I don't know why I say shakach. It's really shakha. But this one is shakach. And this one is shakha, which I guess this is just a root word. Shakha. To bow down. Yeah, so it's a root word. Before superior in homage, right? So to bow down before superior in homage. You see? Let's see what else we got. Wherein thou has been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations, because the kingdom of heaven will never be given to anyone else. Because it's Yahushua's kingdom. We're just joint heirs with him. So I don't know what Elder Lahab is saying, that Esau is going to get back in power and take us down again. Madness. Thou shalt suck the milk of the Gentiles, meaning their riches. Meaning, because remember the Lord said that I will give you a land flowing with what? Milk and honey. Milk represents cattle. Honey represents bees, vegetation, land. And shall suck the breasts of kings, meaning their riches. And thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. And that's pretty much it on that. Now let's go from there. I have this on the list because it came to me. But the brother had pulled it up. I'm not sure how far back that was, because he put the exact verse, which always helps. Let me see if I can find that. Just bear with me 1 second, because you brothers are on fire. So I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find it. Wow. Man, brothers flooding the comment board. Brakateh Hal Bashim Hal Shai. Wow. I didn't realize these many precepts was going up. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Oh, wow. Nah, I didn't see it. Just take a quick peek. If I don't see it, then I'll see if I can find it. And pretty much the scriptures don't change, so it's going to be the same handful of precepts going up, because that's the forte, the scriptures. All right. You know what? I can't find it because there's so many comments here. So I'm gonna just do is go through here. Here we go. Leviticus 25:44. Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, because it says, thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, meaning over your brother. This is what Yahweh was speaking about. It shall not be so among you. It has nothing to do with the other nations, because that's what vocab was trying to use it as. And that's why he tried to throw in, well, Tahar, he's a heathen, because that got nothing to do with that. You have to have order. Did not Yahweh Shai make Peter the head? Peter, thou art this rocking upon. No, Peter, thou art. How does that go? Upon this rock will I build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against thee. So Peter was the head. So does that mean that Peter was a head over the other apostles, disciples? So does that mean that he was a heathen? See, this guy be reaching and he be slithering and sliding. That's why the name of the video is Watch the Serpent Slither. It says, but shalt fear thy power, both thy bondmen and bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. These are the actual heathens. Of them shall you buy bondmen and bondmaids, slave men and slave women. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall you buy. These are talking about the actual strangers, the actual nations. This is another word for a stranger. Thawashab. When you see this, Thawashab or Nakar or Bun Nakar, that's usually the actual strangers. Every once in a blue moon, this may apply to the Israelites depending on how it's written. So it says, moreover, the children of strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall you buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. Did not we read that? That we're going to get these nations as a possession? And you shall take them as an inheritance to your children after you, to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, among yourselves, you shall not rule over them, over one another with rigor. Right. The only thing that you were able to do was have an indentured servant of Israel for 6 years, and then on the 7th year you will give him enough substance and set him free. All right. And let's finish it off here in Daniel 7. Just going to read a couple of verses. Daniel 7:18. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall what? Take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Here it is, these nations done took over all of the known world in different time periods, and they had servants under them. They made everybody servants and tributary, but now that we're going to get the kingdom of heaven, now we can't have servants. That makes us heathens. Fucking vocab, boy. Yeah, this is a good one too right here. Salaka, brothers, I haven't gotten all your, Scriptures, Psalms 2 and 8, ask of me, and I shall give you the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Salakia. Oh man, to add insult to injury, now here comes the allergies. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, man. You got to learn to love to suffer. Those are some profound words from Elder Pastor, and I understand why he said it now. Daniel 7:22. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. Why? Because we've been tributary unto all these nations. Now judgment is about to be given to us, and the judgment is what? And the time came. The judgment is that the Lord is going to deal with these other nations, revenge us on them, bring vengeance upon them, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Boom, bottom line. Now let's jump down to the 26th verse. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it unto the end. That's when all of these different nations fall. And the last ones to rule, which we have here in this particular chapter of Daniel 7, which would be the revival of the ancient Roman Empire, which would be run by Edomites. That's why Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. When their kingdom is brought to an end, all other nations will come down to an end. This is why Yahweh said, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And we're coming to that right now. It says, and the kingdom and dominion, meaning all of these other nations, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, which are who? Israelites, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions, all nations shall serve and obey them. So does that make the Israelites heathens, Gentiles, because they're going to have nations serving us? Huh, vocab? This guy is a real clown. So let's look up those two words, and then we'll close it with that. Dominion is shalatan. Shalatan. Dominion, sovereignty, realm. And the last word there on the list, serve, palath. Palath. To serve, worship, revere, minister for, pay reverence to, right? They're going to be tributary. And the last word on the list is obey, which goes to the Hebrew word shemai, which means to listen. They're going to obey us. All right? So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. I actually put this video in the description box. So the next time I say shalom.